Hello, my name is Professor John Benjamin. I'm the Assistant Professor of Graphic Design here at West Virginia Wesleyan College. This is the fifth video in a series on Adobe Premiere Pro, an introduction. So in this video, we are going to talk about how to do transitions. All right, so let's begin. So here we are, we've got our video clips, and we have an adjustment layer. And let's go ahead and transition between two clips. Now, typically, most clips should just be a cut. So like for instance here, when we play between there and there, let's just do a cut. But occasionally you want to be a little bit more dramatic. And so you want to do, let's say, a crossfade or a dissolve. So to do that, we're going to go over to our effects. Remember, we're still in the effects tab up here. And we're going to come down to video transitions. Open that up and let's do a dissolve. And let's do a cross dissolve. So I'm going to come here and just put the cross dissolve. Let's go put it like right here. Whoop, pardon me. I'm going to drag it between, well, let's drag it between these two clips. Now, one of the interesting things that's happened here is it only dissolved from the end of this clip. Now, the reason why that is because that was the end of the clip. So there's no more footage to dissolve into this clip. So a really important thing to remember is to not have your clip be at the very end. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to my, my Ripple Edit tool, and we're just going to move that in just a little bit, like so. So I'm not at the very end of the clip. So now if I go ahead and drag my cross dissolve, it'll go right nice and neat between the two. All right, so let's zoom in to take a little look at that, and let's see how that looks. All right. So we just play that, a really nice cross dissolve. Now, if you want to manipulate it, make it longer or shorter, you can. You can do it right down here in your, with your selection tool, right down here in your video track. You can move it that so and move it left and right if you like. Or once you select it, you can have a little bit more ease of manipulation up here in your effects controls. All right, so let's say we wanted to do a dip to black at the end of our film. All right, so let's just look over here and we have a dip to black. And that's pretty common for the end of a film. So let's go ahead and drag that right here onto the end. And then let's just take a look and see how that looks. And there, nice, dramatic, quiet ending where we fade to black. But now we want to stay in black and then have, let's say, our end credits come in. So to do that, then, we'll need a graphic, which is known as a black video. So let's come back over here to our project panel. And then I'm going to open up my graphics panel. I already have one in there. I'm just going to delete it so I can show you how I got it. Here is our adjustment layer from before. So I'm going to come down here to New Item. And I'm going to click Black Video. And I'm just going to say OK, and there it is. So then I'm just going to drag that right onto track 1. And so now, when I fade to black, it will stay black as long as I want it to, and I can make this longer or shorter. All right, so now let's do some audio transitions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here to my project panel, and I'm going to open up my music folder. Now, if you don't have any music, you can go to freemusicarchive.com, or is it freemusicarchive.org? Try one or the other. And you can get some free music that you can use. Sometimes the artist will ask for attribution, and sometimes they don't. So in this case, I'm going to use this clip from Nutmeg. I'm going to drag it right into my audio track 1, and you can see I have it here. And here you can see the waveform, and you can tell because we have this a little larger. Now remember, on a Mac, you can hit Option and scroll to make this longer, or on a PC, it's Alt and scroll. So you can see your waveform a little bit better. Now, I had this muted, so I've hit play. We can see the audio and hear the audio playing. Or if that's a little distracting, I can hit the mute button here. Okay. And notice over here too, my audio monitor, you can see that we want to keep the music between -6 and -12. And I'll show you how to manipulate that in a later video. But for now, we can monitor it from there. So let's do the most basic transition. Let's say at the beginning we wanted to gradually fade and get a little louder and go from 0. So the way to do that is I can go to my audio transitions and I could just do a constant gain. I'll drag that right down to the beginning the sound clip right there. And if we come back here and play that, it's just a nice gradual going from silent to the music. Now we can of course make it longer. We can clip on that. I can make this as long as I want. So there, it's much longer. We can play that. And that's one way to do it. Now I want to show you another way to do it if you wanted to fine tune things a little bit better. So I'm going to delete that transition right there, and I'm going to zoom in to my waveform here. And you can see this little line right here between the left and right stereo is my gain. And so that's how loud it is. So right now it's set to 0 decibels, which is where you want it. But let's say I wanted to turn it down. There we go, to -4 decibels right there. So you can move it all the way up and all the way down. All right, so I think, but we're going to leave it right around there. But if I wanted to make that transition and manipulate it a little bit more specifically, you might say, I can come here to my pen tool and I can click on that line in 2 spots. And in one spot, I can bring it down very low, and the other one I can bring it up. And you can see here, it has the same effect, but I have a little bit more control about how I want it to go. And then I could even, let's say I wanted it to quiet down out here, right about there. I can add a couple of anchor points and I can have the rest of it quiet down. So it gets a little loud right around there. So if I play that, I can even move it down just even more. Let's go down here. That's a little bit better. So that's how we use that. Now, notice what we've really done is we've just added keyframes, just like we did in the effects in the previous video. So if we come up here to our effects panel, we can see here's our level, and we've just automatically added a series of keyframes. So we can go ahead and let's zoom in there so we can see what we've done. And let's make this a little wider. And there's our keyframe. So these keyframes are going louder, and this one gets a little bit quieter. So if I wanted to manipulate those even further, like by actually putting in a specific measure of decibels, I can use these very important little arrows to go to that specific keyframe. If I try to move my CTI to that place, what's going to happen is if I make a change, see it's added another keyframe, and then I'm not really manipulating it the way I want to. So I'm going to hit Control Z because I'm on a PC. You can hit Command Z if you're on a Mac. So what you really need to do to make sure you're on the keyframe is use this Go to Previous Keyframe. And now I can use my slider, or I can type in a very specific decibel point, like 0 decibels. And then I can do the same thing. I can go to this keyframe, set that to 0. And then I can go to the next keyframe, and let's make that even quieter. Let's make that -12. All right, and that should work out pretty well. So that's how you can do some audio transitions. All right, well, thanks for joining me. In the next video, we'll talk about how to make titles, also referred to as graphics.